And don't get me wrong, we have got a bigger clinic, we have got more staff, we are doing massively more revenue than we were years ago. But actually, when I dig deep, success for me is more about freedom. It's more about freedom to choose when I work, freedom to be with my family, particularly relevant now I've just had a little baby, and freedom to create. And that's when it clicked that the bigger clinic, the more staff, the more revenue actually just facilitates the other stuff for me. Welcome to the Treat Your Business podcast, the show for clinic owners who want real, honest advice and tried and tested ways of doing things. I'm Katie Bell, and this is the new era of bigger insights and bolder conversations to help you grow a clinic and a life you love. Let's dive in. Everybody, welcome to the Treat Your Business podcast. For those of you who've listened to the last two episodes, you'll understand why I'm on the kitchen table. Anyway, today I want to share something that's been sitting with me when I read a book called The Hustle Cure by Sophie Cliff. She's a positive psychology practitioner, and I really like her principles, what she teaches, because I very much like to focus on people's strengths and what they do well, rather than what I see a lot of at the moment is going back to what happened to us when we were at school and the experiences that we had. And I think it's really important. There's a lot of work that I've done around that. But I also think sometimes too much weight can be put on reliving trauma and reliving certain things rather than really focusing on what we are great at doing, really leaning into those strengths, acknowledging those strengths and working on those strengths so we can up level even more rather than focusing and trying to fix all of our weaknesses. Just a personal opinion. But anyway, she has a set of guiding principles. It's kind of like a manifesto for a different way of working. And it really resonates with a lot of stuff that I already talk about and I already teach and coach within Thrive. And as I read through it, I couldn't help but think this is kind of what you guys need to know as clinic owners. We've all been in this endless cycle, haven't we, of hustle. Most clinic owners that join Thrive are in that cycle. They are hustling really hard. They are in the trenches, working incredibly hard, often chasing somebody else's definition of success, trying to do more, be more, prove more. And yet it kind of leaves us feeling really exhausted and really unfulfilled. I'm not really sure why we're running this business in the first place, because for many of you, it isn't serving you in the way that you need it to. So today I want to finish up this kind of little 3-episode series that I've called Beyond the Treatment Room. And I'm going to go through this manifesto with you. I'm going to put my slant on it as well. But I'm going to bring in some of my own reflections. I'm going to share some of my own stories. And I'm going to give yourself some honest questions along the way. So let's dive in. Number 1, the only version of success that matters is yours. And we talked about this 2 episodes ago. In this kind of little mini series that I've been doing. And I really want to refocus on this because so often we're chasing somebody else's idea of success. Maybe it's what your parents wanted for you. Maybe it's what you see other clinic owners doing on LinkedIn. I have just reconnected with LinkedIn, I would say. I've had a profile on it for ages, but not done anything because frankly, there is so many other platforms, so many other things that we're focusing on. I don't really need to do it right now. But for me, going back onto LinkedIn has really created some imposter syndrome. I've gone back into comparison. I have been looking at what other people are doing, reading into, like when specific people don't comment on my post, but I see them comment on other people's posts, I get this instant like inner critic that's like, well, they don't find your work interesting, or you're not relevant in the industry, or they don't agree with how you do things. This is probably all complete and utter nonsense, but I've made up this story. So yeah, LinkedIn is like, it's great. Obviously it works really well and we need to use it for specific things in our business sometimes, but sometimes it's just the noise of society telling you that bigger, faster, more is what you need to be chasing. But the truth is, unless your definition of success feels authentic and true to you, in alignment with you, it's always going to feel really hollow and icky. And I know for me, there was a time when I absolutely thought success meant just get a bigger clinic, just chase that massive revenue. get more staff. And don't get me wrong, we have got a bigger clinic. We have got more staff. We are doing massively more revenue than we were years ago. But actually, when I dig deep, success for me is more about freedom. It's more about freedom to choose when I work, freedom to be with my family, particularly relevant now I've just had a little baby, and freedom to create. And that's when it clicked that the bigger clinic, the more staff, the more revenue actually just facilitates the other stuff for me. So remind yourself again, ask yourself again as you're driving to the clinic this morning, listen to this podcast, as I know many of you do, what does success really mean for you? Not for anyone else, not for your parents, not for your friends, not for your partner, but for you. Number 2, build an identity that is more than just your achievements. This one I find very challenging because for high achievers, for people that have a really, really strong work ethic, we often feel that our identity is our achievements. And I'm having a big shift in my identity right now because I am a mummy. And although I've been a dog mum for a few years, I have always identified as a CEO, as a business owner, as somebody that's always really busy, always working, always creating. And that's how I think people identify me, rather than now my identity is shifted and is shifting. And that comes with a whole load of baggage. But how often do we answer the question when somebody says, "Oh, what is it that you do?" And we go, "I'm a physio," or "I'm a clinic owner," or "I'm a Pilates instructor." But you're so much more than that. A few episodes ago, now I really challenged you on changing the narrative about what it is that you are. So rather than just saying, "Oh, I'm just a physio," it's actually think about the difference that you make to your community, how you empower people to live better lives. That is your identity, rather than just, "I'm just a physio," or "I'm just a sports therapist." You are your values, you are your passions, your quirks, your laughter, the way you care for your people. That what makes you you, and that is more than just about being or having a job title. And I'll never forget realizing that my clinic wasn't just about being a physio. It was like I'd created this kind of without really realizing, but that's because I'm in my zone of genius there, and I do that naturally. It was about community, about empowering people to live better lives. That just became part of my identity, and it's so much richer than a job title. So who are you beyond your clinic? If I was to meet you at some upcoming exhibition, we're off to Therapy Expo in November. Hope to see some of you there. Come to the stand, make sure you see me for a cuddle. But if I said to you to introduce yourself, tell me what your name is and tell me what you do, what are you going to answer, rather than just be the person that says, "Oh, I'm a physio," or "I run a clinic in Essex"? You are so much more than that. And when you change the narrative, when you really change the energy around that, everything else changes with you. Number 3, quit the comparison game. So we all know the saying, comparison is the thief of joy, but it's also the thief of focus as well. And the more we look at, it's like sideways at what others are doing, the more we lose sight of our own path. I see this all the time with clinic owners, and often I'm repeating my advice quite a lot, which is, where has this come from? Who have you been following? What have you been looking at on social media? And then we realize that actually they are just chasing somebody else's game. People say to me, "Well, she launched this membership," or "I've seen this on Instagram and I think I should be doing that. He's hired 3 new members of staff. Maybe I should be doing that." And, interestingly, something that we have done within Thrive is when you join one of our programs, so whether it's Evolve, Activate, Elevate, or Ascend, we have a WhatsApp group, and you become a member of that if you wish to be. And it's a really positive platform. We have loads and loads of great things to celebrate on there. Also, people are asking each other advice and celebrating their wins. But it can also feel very overwhelming. And that's because we've got more and more members, and frankly, more and more people are doing fabulous things. So we have adjusted this, and we have created something called a community in our software. So we've now got places where people can celebrate wins. We've got marketing channels, sales channels, staff and team and recruitment channels. So people can ask specific questions within a channel. It feels less overwhelming. They get better advice because it's very focused, but also it stops the comparison game. If you don't want to look at it, you don't have to look at it. But it also allows people to stay focused. One of the biggest things we're always pushing people to do is actually do less, but do it better. And don't be comparing yourself to everybody else's journey. So your path is yours. Move in the direction that feels right for you. But I am just going to say, make sure it's strategic and that you know your numbers as well. Anyway, number 4, challenge your inner critic. The little voice that always says, you're not doing enough. You should be further ahead. You're failing. You're not good enough at this. You don't know anything about marketing. You don't know your numbers. You're not up to date. I've not read enough research papers, blah, blah, blah. I'll be honest, everybody's will still pipe up. However much work you do on yourself, mine still pipes up. But instead of letting it run wild, we have to pause. We have to remind ourselves, actually, this isn't like something I particularly want to get better at. Like I don't want to be better, reconciling my bank accounts. I want to just pay someone else to do that for me. It's not being lazy when you outsource the cleaning of your house to somebody else, or the ironing or the gardening or your car washing. It's that you're simply navigating a world that piles so many expectations upon us. And you know what? It's hard because it is hard. That is all. So remember when you're approaching a situation or you've got to do something in your business and your inner critic is on overdrive, when you've got that monkey on the shoulder that is telling you all the reasons why you can't do it or why it's not going to be a success. We are wired to focus on the kind of risk or the negative rather than actually think about what could go right in that situation. Number 5 in the manifesto of doing things in a different way is adopting an attitude of embracing rather than fixing. And I love this one. We talked about this in the last episode. How many of us think life will finally begin once we've fixed this, once we've lost 2 stone, once we're driving a better car, once we've got a bigger house, once we've got that next member of staff, once we've hired our integrator, once I'm fitter, once I'm more organized, once I have the perfect marketing funnel, then I'll feel good. But life doesn't start after you have fixed it. Life is happening right now. And the most productive thing you can do is embrace who you are. Your strengths, your rhythms, your ways of working, your energy cycle, whether you're a morning person or a night owl, like your way of working. So embrace who you are. Don't try and fix all the stuff about us that we don't want to have to fix. Yes, there are things we need to work on. Absolutely. But really embrace who you are, your strengths, your rhythms, and your way of doing things because the power is in you. You already have everything that you need inside you to get to where you want to be. Number 6, know that just because you can doesn't mean you should. This is a really big one for me because as a business owner, there is always opportunities. Launch a service, you could add that class, you could partner with that person. I'll give you an example of something that I probably saw it on Instagram or some form of social or whatever it was that you're looking at. And I saw something that inspired an idea that I am 40 in a few weeks' time. And it's a big year for us this year. 40, becoming a mum, been married 10 years. There's a lot going on. But anyway, why was I telling you this? Because I saw something and I'm technically off on maternity leave at the moment, apart from having to record podcasts because I didn't get enough done in advance because he was overdue. And therefore now I am slightly behind. But anyway, I saw something and I thought I'm going to create like something around my birthday, number 40. I'm going to do something. It's going to really help clinic owners. It's going to be like a download that's going to solve your marketing problems. And there's going to be 40 different things that you can access and use. Like a massive freaking job, an absolutely massive job. And my head went off into creative mode. This is what I want to do. And then I stepped back, which is never an easy thing as a visionary, and looked at the workload that we've currently got on in Thrive and how maxed out all of my team are right now. And I just have to decide, it's a great idea. I know it's going to help loads of people, but I can't actually do it. I can't actually make it happen right now, because by saying yes to that, I'm saying no to a whole load of other things. So just because you can doesn't mean it's the right thing for you. Sometimes the bravest thing is just saying no more to stuff in your clinic that you don't want to be doing, even though it might sound like a great idea. Number 7, harness the power of future regret. So this is a really grounding one, because none of us are getting out of here alive. Sorry, that turned slightly, but one day our time will run out. And I promise you, you aren't going to look back and remember the late nights at the clinic or the admin that you got through, or, this beautiful spreadsheet that you built. You'll remember the connections. You'll remember the joy, the moments of inspiration. So how are you spending your time? Where is it all going? We've all got the same 24 hours in a day. How are you choosing to spend yours? Number 8, celebrate your wins. I don't think we do this enough. And in Thrive, when you come to one of our live days, we've got 2 coming up in October very soon. I'm very, very excited. And we have invited some of you who I know listen to this podcast to come as a guest on the day, which is very, very special, because usually you have to just be a member to be involved. But we always start by celebrating our success, and we do something or get into the vortex. This really sets the energy for the day. What gets recognized gets repeated. So inside our programs, we make a point of getting clinic owners to celebrate their wins as often as we possibly can. It builds momentum, it changes the energy, and it reminds us of how far we've already come, and focus on the things we're doing really well, rather than all the things that we inevitably haven't had time to do. Number 9, be in the season that you're in. This is really powerful for me right now, because not every season is about growth. Some seasons are about rest, some are about healing, some are about building foundations quietly in the background. Some might be that you are a new mum like me right now, which is a complete adjustment to seasons I've been in before. So this season, if you're in a season where you're stretched thin, give yourself permission to not pile on more. Like, you are just setting yourself up for failure. I often see clinic owners making decisions to change software systems when they're stretched thin, when they have less capacity within their team and they're having to work more clinical hours. Really think strategically when you make decisions about, can we do this? If we say yes to this, what do we say no to? Is this the right time to make these things happen? And often when we're looking at our quarterly plans, I'm always saying there's way too many things on there. You need to get rid of most of that and just focus on 1 or 2 things. So what season are you in right now in your business? And how does that mean you need to change how you are behaving? And number 10, lean into what feels good. This is my favorite one. We've been taught that feeling good is really selfish. It can be indulgent. It can be all those other things, but feeling good is a superpower. When you feel good, everything works better. Your health, you're more resilient, your business. So take the joyful option, sprinkle magic over the mundane, let yourself have some fun. You will have seen a picture on Instagram recently of my team. We have an ops meeting on a Tuesday. I'm not actually involved in it. And we have a coaches meeting once a month, which happens after our monthly pods, where we get all of our clinic owners in small groups with your coach. And we really set our 30-day plan, intentions, focus. We reflect on the previous 30 days and we work out what it is we've got to do to move the needle forwards in our business. After that, we have a coaches meeting where I want to know everything about all of you. But I'm off on maternity leave at the moment. I thought, how can I sprinkle some magic over these meetings? And I sent all of my team a pair of very hilarious sunglasses. Some were flamingos, some were guitars, some were sunflowers. Nicola's were the most hilarious ones with like those springs with eyeballs hanging off. If you've not seen it, have a look on Instagram, have a look at the picture. It's great. And I said that my challenge to you is to turn up to the meeting with these sunglasses on and keep them on for the duration of the meeting. And just don't take yourself so seriously. Have some fun. And you know what? It's a really small thing, but it created a lot of laughs. So that's the manifesto. A new way of doing things, a new way of defining success, living and working. I'd really love for you to pick one of these today, just one, and really reflect on how you could live it out in your own life and in your own business. Because your one wild and precious life is far too important to waste on someone else's version of success. Thanks for listening to the Treat Your Business podcast. Hit subscribe now and keep joining me for bigger insights, bolder conversations to help you build a clinic and a life you love.